my name's Artemis, and it seems to me like things have been pretty dark for a little while now, and I know we're talking about this a lot lately, but hell, we're going to talk about the world, and that's where we fucking live. And I was thinking, like, oh, things have been pretty shit for a while. Where did it all start? And honestly, I started to think that it was the pandemic that set things off. That was the turning point. That was the bit that made us sort of get here. And maybe without it, we wouldn't have gotten here as fast, but it was probably inevitable. And then I started thinking about the things I've learned since the pandemic and why things have felt so different since, and I've realized that there are 5 key lessons I learned during the pandemic that kind of made me hate the whole fucking world. And here they are. So I think the first and most obvious thing that we all learned is it's just a job. Whatever you're doing, whatever you're working, when the pandemic swung around, they threw you under the fucking bus, didn't they, most of all? They were more than happy to go back on their word. For years they said, no home working, no remote working, fuck you, come to the office. Well, we're not allowed to because the government said, so I guess you're going to have to pay me because they told you have to. And then suddenly it's, oh, well, we'll give you a laptop, you continue working, we need a profit. Suddenly they can U-turn on that shit. And they did, and then when it was over, they U-turned again, because, oh, well, working from home doesn't work, despite the fact the only reason we have survived as a business is because we brought in work from home. But even beyond that, we learned pretty quickly that companies will drop the fuck out of you. My previous workplace that I got out of, not the last one, the one before, if I was still working there when the pandemic hit, my contract would have been cut entirely, and I would have been given the option of a 5-hour-a-week temporary seasonal contract. That's what they did to their staff when the world was coming to an end. Everybody get the fuck out, and if you want to come back, it's peasant wages. And they ain't the only ones that did it. And even for those of us that did work all the way through the pandemic, the company did not have our back. They were more than happy to keep us open. They were more than happy to push the limits of what essential actually means. And they were more than happy to make a fucking profit. And when we were the ones getting the abuse, there was no fucking support. So it very quickly became a lesson in, fuck this job, fuck this company, I will come in, I will do my shit, and I will leave. And I will not give 2 shits whilst I do that. And that's the only way you can fucking operate these days. Number 2, people fucking suck. This was a point. When the pandemic happened, this was a turning point. This was a pause in the world where we could determine how we want to be going forward, where we could change, where we could come together and help each other, and we could act with compassion, and we can realize just how stupid and petty some of our arguments really are, and how they don't really matter when we're facing all of this. And we did for maybe a week, and then we didn't. Ever again, and it just got so much worse, and people got more abusive, and people realized that they are all for sacrifice when other people are making that sacrifice for them. We had the whole thing here, like the spirit of the Blitz. We will get through this. Okay, you can say that, and you can bang your pots and pans for the nurses, but you're the first ones to shit on them now when they want a pay rise after they get paid less than minimum wage for the hours they put in. You're the first ones to shit on them now when their whole fucking company has been defunded, and you can't get a doctor's appointment. You'll throw them the fuck under the bus, obviously, because you're a cunt. And most people are cunts. And I cannot unlearn that fact. The third point is that morality and, thinking the best quickly goes out the fucking window when people's comfort is at stake. Like, we were all happy to shelter, we were all happy to sacrifice until suddenly the sun came out and then, fuck you, I don't care if you get the virus. It's not affecting me. I shouldn't have to. Everybody was happy for it in the winter when it was rainy and miserable and they didn't have to go to work anymore and they were getting paid. But then when they were the ones that were asked to sacrifice, suddenly, fuck you. And we noticed this, those of us that worked, and we all saw this. We all saw people parking all over nature reserves so that they could go out and have a walk. And yeah, essentially it is weird. It is ridiculous. The government was like, you can't even go outside. It is stupid. It is ridiculous. And I do feel like a bit of a sheep that I followed those rules sometimes. But still, it shouldn't have been rules that we needed to follow. It should have been people having care and dignity for others. And thinking, maybe it's more important that people survive this virus than I go out and get a fucking Magnum. Which is an ice cream, by the way, not a gun. And that didn't happen. People were more than happy to put others at risk. Going out with COVID, going out without masks. Yes, now you can look and say, well, masks didn't do anything. We didn't know that at the time. We were just trying to do anything to stop the spread. Or at least some of us were, because everybody else just wanted the world to open back up, and they didn't care how many bodies piled high in the streets to get that to happen. Number 4, some people are just dedicated to being wrong. It doesn't matter how much evidence you give them, how much fucking resources there are available to them to educate their dumbasses. They are still going to believe whatever the fuck Facebook tells them, and they did. My crowning achievement in the pandemic was making a co-worker believe that COVID made its way to the UK because of Greg's vegan sausage rolls. I said that with enough conviction that she believed that for a week before she came to me pissed off that I'd lied. A week! Me! I shouldn't have that power, and yet it's so fucking easy. And if I can do that, the fucking media can do that, and they have a hell of a lot to answer for, but it didn't seem to matter what the data was saying. People wanted to have their cake and eat it, and it very quickly came to a point of, well, if they die, they die, as long as it's not me or anyone I know or care about. And we just sort of lost our fucking humanity with that, didn't we? It just sort of became like, well, the evidence is telling us we need to do this, the science is telling us we need to do that, but I've lost my humanity because, well, despite being paid to stay at home, apparently that's too fucking difficult, and now I need to go out and put everybody else at risk. Fucking bunch of vulturous cunts. Hated the fucking lot of them, still do. The 5th and final point is that governments are completely fucking useless when you need them. Like, let's be honest, has any government really handled this well, apart from maybe New Zealand? Like, I get it, you can't predict this. You could never have anticipated this would happen, apart from all of the scientists and advisors that were putting in place plans to predict and anticipate this and tackle it head on. But all of that got defunded, and none of those were available because we decided, fuck you, we don't want to spend money on that, and then when the thing happened, no one knew what to do. And essentially, you rely on a government to do what's best for the people, for the country, in times of crisis. And we had a time of crisis, and they all just fucking panicked and squandered and squabbled and spent money on shit we didn't need and just embezzled more shit. I mean, how many fucking scandals have we got in this country of PPE money being stolen, with fucking PPE loans being just, oh no, you don't have to pay that back. We might have given you 14 billion to various private sector industries, but we don't care. We don't need that back. It's only taxpayer money. It's only taxpayer money. See, I'm so fucking pissed off by it, I can't even speak. It's just led to governments just basically filling their pockets on their way out the door and just like, oh, well, that's for someone else to worry about, despite the fact that was supposed to be them. Maybe that's why confidence in government organizations has fucking taken a nosedive, because that was their opportunity to step up and show that there's a real reason for them to exist, and essentially, there fucking isn't, is there? Like, if the government just stopped and the people that actually ran the country continued running the country, would we notice much of a difference? Apart from there would be less hatred and anger in the world being spewed out by news organizations? Maybe we'd be happier. Maybe we'd be better off. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. I am just a dog on the internet. So there you have it. Those are my 5 pandemic life lessons. Did you learn these lessons as well? Hopefully you didn't turn out as cynical and pessimistic as I did, but once you learn these lessons, it's very hard to get them out of your head because they're true, and you see them reinforced all the goddamn time and put against all these other things. It's just fuck. And it's just been the world that we're living in ever since. Maybe it was the world we were living in beforehand and the pandemic just showed it to us, who knows, but here we fucking are. But thank you for watching. I'm sorry if I brought up any feelings of rage, because I had to tap into that to make this video. I hope you enjoyed it. In a bizarre turn of events, here are some ways you can support me if you would like to help me live and survive and move out of this shitty country, hopefully. First of which would have been my feet pics, because I'm shameless. And then, of course, the merchandise, which is pretty fucking cool. You should definitely check that out whilst you can. It's really fucking great and amazing. Get yourself a paw cushion. And of course the Patreon, because I need to eat, I need to live, I need to give Milo his treats and let him be a healthy, happy boy. And you can support us in doing that and keep us going as we do this big, scary process called immigration. So thank you very much for watching, hope you did enjoy this video, and I'll see you all next week. Bye!